When can multiplication be interpreted as scaling? For example, Gary's flashlight shines 3 times farther than mine. In this lesson, you will learn how to interpret multiplication as scaling by using visual models. Let's review several important concepts. First, in a multiplication equation, the two numbers being multiplied together are called factors, and the result is called the product. Another important thing to remember is that multiplication can be interpreted in a variety of ways. The equation 3 times 5 equals 15, for example, can be interpreted as repeated addition by adding 3 items together 5 times, or by adding 5 items together 3 times. This equation could also be interpreted as an array in which we can see 3 rows of 5 or 5 rows of 3. It can also be interpreted as an area model in which a specified area has the dimensions of 3 by 5. A common misunderstanding many students have in relation to multiplication is thinking that multiplication can and should always be interpreted as repeated addition. This is not always the case. Each multiplication equation must be considered in context. Let's look back at the example from the beginning of this lesson. Gary's flashlight shines 3 times farther than mine. My flashlight shines 5 feet ahead. If Gary's flashlight shines 3 times farther than mine, that means it shines 3 times farther than 5 feet. This can also be written as 3 times 5 equals G. G will tell us how far ahead Gary's flashlight shines. We know that 3 times 5 equals 15, so that means Gary's flashlight will shine 15 feet ahead. In this context, the 3 does not represent 3 flashlights or even 3 groups of flashlights. The 3 represents 3 times farther, which is the relationship between the distance of Gary's light and the distance of my light. Gary's light shines 3 times farther, which means that 15 is 3 times greater than 5. This is an example of multiplication as scaling because our original factor of 5 is being scaled up 3 times, which makes our product 3 times larger than the original factor. When can multiplication be interpreted as scaling? When it represents the relationship between the size of the product and the factors. In the equation 3 times 5 equals 15, the product 15 is 3 times greater than 5 and 5 times greater than 3. In this lesson, you have learned how to interpret multiplication as scaling by using visual models.